Brought to you by DK Audio.
DK Audio presents The Secret Explorers and the Plant Poachers by S.J. King. Read by Aysha. Chapter 1. A Woodland Wonder. No way! Leah gasped. She couldn't believe her eyes. This was like finding a fairy at the bottom of your garden, only better. She leaned her bike gently against a beech tree. As she walked across the woodland clearing, she kept her gaze fixed on the tiny plant she'd spotted. The closer she got, the more excited she became. She was looking at a ghost orchid. Leah had seen pictures of ghost orchids on the internet and in books, but she'd never thought she would ever see a real one. And she definitely never thought she would see one growing so close to her home in Oxfordshire, in the south of England. Ghost orchids were incredibly rare and endangered. In fact, they were so hard to find in her country that people had thought they were extinct. She would have to keep the plant's location a secret, so it didn't get dug up and stolen. Leah didn't mind. After all, she already had another big secret, which none of her friends or family even suspected. She knelt down next to the ghost orchid. It was white and delicate. No wonder it's called a ghost orchid, she thought. Unlike so many other plants, it had no green in it. Leah was an expert on plants, so she knew what that meant. Green plants contained chlorophyll, the substance that turned sunlight into the energy they needed to grow. But the little ghost orchid got its energy in quite a different way. It sucked up nutrition from the rotting vegetation beneath it, and from the fungi growing on the beech tree roots. That was why ghost orchids always grew in shady places. So cool, Leah whispered. This was the luckiest find of her life. Ghost orchids weren't just rare. They spent most of their lives underground. Some of them only sent up a flower every 10 years. Leah knew it was almost a miracle that she had happened to see this one. But it was time to check on her own plants. Leah had a greenhouse full of them at home, and they all needed care and attention. She cycled home as fast as she could, still feeling excited about finding the ghost orchid. She skidded to a halt outside the greenhouse. As she reached for the door, she stopped in her tracks. Glowing on the glass was a compass symbol. Yes! She cheered. Leah had a badge just like that on her jacket. It stood for the Secret Explorers, the group of problem-solving experts she belonged to. Now Leah felt even more excited. The Secret Explorers were being called for a new mission. Leah opened the door and walked through. Instead of the familiar greenhouse with its rows of exotic plants, she entered a strange tunnel of blinding white light. Wind roared around her, and in the next second she was back in the exploration station. "Leah here," she called, and gave a salute, like she always did when she arrived. The exploration station was an amazing hidden base, with walls of polished black stone, displays of objects the explorers had brought back from their missions, and huge, comfortable chairs and sofas for relaxing on. A row of computer workstations stood to one side, so the explorers who weren't chosen to go on the mission could still offer help. Leah headed for the big sofa to wait for the others. She passed by the huge map of the world on the floor, on which dots would light up to show them where their missions were. Above the map, an image of the Milky Way glittered on the domed ceiling. One by one, the other explorers arrived through the glowing door and joined Leah in the lounge area. "Ollie here," shouted a boy, with boots all muddy from trekking through the rainforest. "Kiki here," called the engineering explorer. "Roshni here," called the space
Sample complete. Ready to continue?